Why do people tell lies, and what you can do to avoid that? Lies telling, perhaps the number one skill that every child develops right from a young age after accidentally breaking a vase or misplacing their toy or destroying that TV remote, is one of those skills that we as humans often carry all through our lives. The question is, why do we tell lies? Of course, the reasons for lies telling vary across the ages of human development, and we are not really looking at the reasons like greed and profit and gain, or blaspheming or blackmailing others, what you see really in adults. But in this video, I want us to look at the very intrinsic and basic instinct which accounts for the reason why we generally develop that skill of lies telling. And if we explore that from a child and from the perspective of young children, then you understand that the number one reason why we tell lies is fear. Because a child looks up to their parents and wants to be approved, accepted, or loved by them continuously, when they make mistakes, the feel and the fear that communicating the truth about what happened might cause them to lose the favor of their parents. Or generally, like in a good African setting, they are terrified of the king. And that's typical. We don't want to face the consequences of what the truth will bring into our lives, so we prefer to tell a lie, and in the hope that we are going to somehow wave away the negative repercussions of our actions or our mistakes. And so that's why, in the most basic instinct, fear accounts for the reason why we tell lies. But even though as we grow up, this actually develops and expands and spreads into several other reasons. As we actually get smarter or wiser, people begin to tell lies for other reasons, like maybe for profit. Well, did you make enough money? No, I didn't make enough. So the intention is he can lie or she can lie and keep the rest of the money, or for greedy reasons, or just to blackmail another person, gain access to a privilege which, other than telling a lie, if we told the truth, will not be awarded that privilege or that opportunity. And even due to peer pressure, where we have to invent stories and elaborate lies to give ourselves a history or a past or a lifestyle which is not actually true, but we hope that by doing that we'll be accepted in a certain society, or we'll be able to fit in a community, or with our friends, or with our peers. But then somehow that doesn't mean that the fear instinct dies off as a child. Even as adults, many of us still tell lies out of fear. Because you fear your employer, you don't tell them the truth about your whereabouts and why you were not able to come to work. It's easier to lie that you were sick, and that would just pass under the radar because you have fear of the consequences that they may exert over your life. And that could be for every figure of authority in your life, whether your spouse, and I mean both husband and wives, parents, teachers, leaders, counsel, and basically anyone that you fear they may have the capacity and power to exert some consequences upon you for telling the truth, which is not what they really want or expect from you. So what can you do about that? Well, for the little children, I doubt much can be done. You can just tell the child, try not to do many wrong things, and telling a truth will not cause your parents to love you less, and if they are correcting you, it's for your own good. But for adults, you really need to get to the place where you break free from that fear. And breaking free from that fear comes with responsibility. When you have a good sense of responsibility, it's like you're owning your actions. So if you say you won't go to work, then own not going to work. You don't have to create an elaborate movie lie just so that you give an excuse not to go to work. If you didn't get the job done, then be responsible to own the outcome and say the job wasn't done but I believe I can remedy it and do something better or correct what has gone wrong. And basically, that's the idea of taking responsibility. Well, choosing a lifestyle of lies telling is basically saying you're choosing a lifestyle where people around you will be able to wield a certain degree of authority and power over you to the point that you fear them, that you cannot tell them the truth. And so you have to tell them lies and invent new lies to back up the previous lies. But well, you don't have the obligation and you don't have to live that kind of life. So I challenge you to come up to the place where you're actually responsible and you can make decisions bearing in mind that you take responsibility for the outcomes and you don't let anyone wield that kind of control, power, and authority over your life just simply because you're too scared of them to tell them the truth. Of course, for the basic part, this is science, this is psychology. It doesn't undo the imprint of lies telling as a natural wrong habit from the nature of fallen man. And that's why if you've been redeemed by Christ and you've been reconnected back to the right spirit that the first Adam lost, this actually becomes even easier because the problem can be solved from its root and you can actually live a lies telling free life. So that's